Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful.
You like that? Was that a good rendition?
Oh, man,
I did the best. The best I could. I'm not a bit.
I think you're missing out on a future career, possibly.
You know how many future careers I have? You have no idea. They're countless. They're countless. Welcome back to Geoholics, episode 245.
245. I love hitting those even
those
like
fives. You like those fives.
I like those 5s and 10s because that means we're 5 episodes away from 250, and that 250 is big. And I do have to talk about one statistic.
Oh, okay.
And we've had a surge of downloads, and it just kind of happened in between 2 episodes, and we crossed over 200,000 downloads in history for the podcast.
Officially, we can say that now.
Yes, yes, we can.
Complete confidence.
Actually, today it's like 203,000. I mean, it kind of exponential on us, and it happened quick, and it's crazy to think about 200,000.
Does it have anything to do with the last 2 guests that we had? They were pretty amazing.
Gotta be, right?
Pretty amazing. We're so fortunate to have amazing guests.
I mean, the mics were spot on.
I can't wait to release that episode. It's so good. But on that note, thank you to you, the listener. Obviously, without you folks, you guys, you gals, we would not be at over 200,000 listeners.
No,
huge accomplishment, huge milestone.
And thank you to all the Geoholics out there.
Worldwide.
I mean, man.
Worldwide, yes. Super, super exciting. All right. Real quick, our episode sponsor is Emlet, of course. They have signed on to be our episode sponsor for the entire physical year, 2025. Super excited about that.
Physical year?
Yeah, physical year.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying? Physical year.
That's what you're saying, but I'm just making sure.
My word. What stops you, Sean, from adding a new high precision GPS receiver to your fleet?
It's the damn 20 grand price tag.
It's freaking outrageous, right? Extra cost for unlocking features on top of that.
I know.
Long learning curves, batteries changing every 4 hours. It doesn't have to be like that.
It doesn't.
Emlet GNSS receivers offer the same accuracy at 1/10 of the cost.
So I've heard.
With extended battery life and an easy-to-use smartphone app. The Emlet team is heading to Geo Week. We will be there as well.
We will see them.
3 sleeps, and we'll be there.
3 sleeps. That sounds like something I have to tell my kid. Yes. Christmas will be here in 3 sleeps.
3 sleeps. Yeah. Well, Geo Week's kind of like Christmas for us. It's
going to feel like it, I'm sure.
It's one of our biggest events of the year.
Who are we going to see over there?
We are going to see everybody. We're going to see our guests there. Next week.
But most importantly, Emlet is going to be at booth 530.
530.
Stop by, talk to the regional manager, Matthias Stone.
I think it's Sione.
Matthias Sione. I just got these new glasses. I have to say, it's really for far away reading, and that looks 100% like Stone.
It could be Sione. We're going to find out when we meet Matthias in person. We'll clarify that.
Yeah.
For sure. But no, Geo Week's going to be great. Thanks to Emlet. And of course, if you want to take a look at what Emlet has to offer, go to their store. Find that at store.emlet.com.
Okay.
What's new, buddy?
Oh, new. We talk about it a lot. It is the week. It's the week to be in Phoenix. It's the week to be in around Arizona.
Yes.
I mean, there's just a lot.
Why would you want to be anywhere else?
And then we caught a break. It's like 70. I think the high was 78 degrees.
Oh.
Not a cloud in the sky.
Yep.
There's a cool golf tournament going on, and everyone else is cold and rainy or snowy or something. And this is our time to show off how great it is. And it gives up all the other summer months. It's like, okay, this is why you do it.
That's exactly why you do it.
Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Talking about Wisconsin.
Yeah. Those people are miserable, and they're looking at this golf tournament like, man,
I
look at all these people having a great time. What if they may have it figured out? And then, then July hits and it's 115. That's a different story. But this is the week that, and it is also super busy. It's busy work. It's busy people. It's busy everything.
It is.
I'm sure you're about to say the same thing.
I got nothing to say. You covered everything that I was going to say. And but real quick, let's talk about who else we have in the studio with us. This is going to be a lot of fun. We have got Will Wing with us. Will, welcome back to the show. Great to see your face.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Like I said, the weather's been great.
all week. So welcome, John. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. We'll get to John in a minute. We got to focus on you a little bit more, Will. Last time I saw you, we were at Future Cities.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell us. I mean,
That was one of the coolest.
so wait, so you guys were both judges?
I was assistant judge. I was assistant to the regional judge.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So you kept your opinions to yourself and just supported him, right?
Yeah, well, pretty much. Yeah, I was the face. Will was he was the doer. Yeah. But we had an amazing time. Like, how many teams? 60? 65? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so. And it gets more and more every year. So
It's insane. Anybody listening?
And this is high school, middle school kids,
Eighth grade.
fifth grade, eighth grade, Future Cities.
Yep. It's a design competition. They get a theme every year. This year was a floating city. So they had to design a self-sustained floating city that dealt with every aspect of a city. You know, they had to produce their own energy, and you got more points for alternative energy ideas. So
Yep.
Did they have like a little paddle wheel like underneath the city?
they had kinetic sidewalks. Walk on the sidewalk.
You should do it next year. You will crap.
Yeah. Me and Kent were we're retarded. Oh my God. Like this.
And like, Will, is it bad that I feel dumb right now?
Well, I mean, and I've said it before, it doesn't take much, but you really feel that you hit the bottom when it's a 7-year-old makes you feel,
Oh, my word.
Actually inferior.
Yeah. We learned a lot. And, but you know, every year, like I said, this event has been going on for, what did they say? I think this 35 years.
35 or 40 years.
They've done the, I know we don't have a lot of time, but have they done the go back and what did the 1975 Future City look like?
That would be
or
awesome.
whenever they started.
It looks like today. In a lot of ways, hopefully. I don't know. But it was such a cool event. Anybody listening, if you haven't heard about this, please check out Future Cities. It's so cool. And I can't wait to go back and do it again next year. Next year, I think the Geoholics might play a role.
Yeah.
Probably do some interviews with teachers and
it was a little last minute for me, but I want to be involved in something.
Yeah, it was awesome. But Will, thank you again for the invite. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Opened my eyes to a ton. I'll be back for sure. And special guest, John Hansen. Everybody's saying, who the hell is John Hansen? Who is this guy? I mean, is there anybody more handsome, first of all? I don't think so.
Just a nobody here.
So John Hansen is one of probably my best friend forever. We were in each other's weddings, first weddings in both cases.
That's okay.
First weddings in both cases, but we've known each other longer than anybody for the most part.
1983-ish.
We've been through a lot together, man. The ups and downs, good times, bad times, way more good times than bad times.
Moms, dad, friends, family.
Yep.
Well,
all the things.
and
all
I'm
the
sure
things.
the Geoholics love to like connect with somebody that is so connected with our beloved host. And I know you're in town this week, so it's happy to have you on here. But I do have to ask. I have to ask a question.
Yep.
Might be just a generic question, but
I got the answer.
we rarely meet someone from Kent's past. Probably for a reason. Maybe not. But I got to ask you one classic, maybe embarrassing, maybe not story from Kent's past that you can share with us.
It's not embarrassing. It's actually radio etiquette. July 4th, Shalimar Apartments.
Fire. The fire.
What year?
The fire. That was probably early 80s.
Early 80s. His dad was the maintenance man in charge of all 4 buildings of everything. And July 4th.
I knew this.
Fireworks are going off. And then, let's all go upstairs. We were climbing the staircase from the laundry room on the 4th floor.
Yep, to get on the roof.
Get on the roof.
Yep.
We're up there. I was a junior. You might have been a sophomore.
I don't know.
Kevin, his brother had to be like, well, 5th grade, whatever. His mom was up there, and also we see flames coming over the roof. Can't take over. And Mike's like, I think we got a problem. Everybody off the roof.
My dad was like shooting fireworks off the roof of this apartment complex, and there were like these huge like cedar trees,
pine trees
that went to the top of the roof of the apartment complex. And for who knows? One of them caught on fire. There are flames flying over the top of the roof of this apartment complex. My dad, like, we should not have been up there. I don't know how he didn't get fired off that way in hindsight, but oh my word, that was a classic.
Love it.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Good story, Chad.
Yeah.
A way to keep it PG. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll do it like after we're done. We'll do like a little session. We'll get like
Pay-per-view.
the really dirty stuff,
Off the
and then
record.
completely off the record, and then I'll put it on the record, and then it'll.
Sean's going to make a little money on the side. All right. Next up, we got the Skyscopes Song of the Week. Skyscopes is an aerospace company specializing in geospatial and technology solutions for industries such as electric utilities, oil and gas and infrastructure, aviation services, geospatial services, solutions, delivery, providing end-to-end workflows encompassing data collection, processing, and delivery tailored to client needs. To find out more, go to skyscopes.com. And if you're ever in Arizona, which is where Skyscopes is based, they're set up at Deer Valley Airport.
Oh yeah, you got to check that out.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's really cool.
These guys, my goodness, they got a lot of cool stuff going on. Song of the week. What do you got, Sean?
All right, well, it was a while ago, but that was Black Sabbath, the song called Paranoid. Black Sabbath, British heavy metal band, formed in Birmingham in 1968 by guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, drummer Bill Ward, and vocalist Ozzy Osbourne. Widely regarded as the pioneers of heavy metal, I don't think there's really any argument there. The band developed a dark heavy characterized by down-tuned guitar riffs and themes of doom, war, and the occult.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, I know. And man, people love them. Black Sabbath's influence on the metal is unparalleled, and they were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006.
Dude, I understood about every other word you said. That was the weirdest read ever.
I kind of blurred through it.
If you play it backwards, though, just like Sabbath, you can hear every word.
Yeah, and sync it up with Wizard of Oz.
This Sabbath has heard it. That's all that counts.
That's awesome. All right, we are in the Altera studio as usual. Altera Central is the authorized premier Trimble dealer for survey, mapping, GIS, forensics, and marine equipment in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico. They also offer field supplies and can deliver them right to your job site. Huge benefit there, and they're really good at it. All backed by a service department with one of the fastest turnarounds in the nation. AlteraCentral.com is where you will find out everything you need to know about Altera Central.
Yeah, can't say enough. We do always.
Guys are amazing. Yep. We got to reach out to Scott Spears. I haven't talked to him in a while.
I'm sure we'll see him next week.
Oh, maybe he'll be.
Yeah,
Altera will be there for sure. Can't wait. All right, next up, the Hexagon Weekly Pro Tip. Hexagon is a global leader in digital reality solutions, combining sensor, software, and autonomous technologies to empower an autonomous future. The future is autonomous, by the way.
Heard.
Their solutions are utilized across various industries, including manufacturing, infrastructure, public sector, and mobility applications to enhance efficiency, productivity, quality, and safety. To find out more, simply go to hexagon.com. What do you got for us this week, Sean?
Ooh, this one's a mouthful, but I think I got it. Okay, here we go. Innovation is the unrelenting drive to break the status quo and develop anew where few have dared to go. That was
Stephen Jeffs,
Director of Customer Experience at, I don't know what that is.
INEOS Automotive.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's a great quote.
I like the quote more than the title. The title is hard, but
yeah, no, totally understand. And the thing is, I think our guest this evening can totally relate to this.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're gonna expand on that here.
I think we may have like a use case where it's gonna really drive it home.
I think we're gonna have that as well, for sure. All right, next up, moving on, the NLC Prep question. Well, you didn't like this title, but I'm going to use it because we never changed it. The question to make you think title, right? You don't like that. You don't like that. We got to do something different next time.
I know.
But the cool thing is, for all the listeners, if you will email us at info@thegeoholics.com, the correct answer of this question, you will get a $10 Amazon gift card. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You on board with that?
I need to check the numbers, but I think we can swing that.
But for this week, we're okay.
This week we're okay.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not sure about every week. It's a work.
Yes, it's a
I-
little.
we have to check with our accountant.
We'll check with the other favor.
The other favor.
All right, and also NLC Prep is for those dedicated to passing their land surveying exams on the very first try. And I know people that have used NLC Prep first. Super successful program there. So what's the question this week, Sean?
Okay, here we go. And this is quite technical. I really dug deep here.
Do you know the answer? We'll find out here in a second.
Absolutely not.
Will probably knows.
A 4 kilometer level loop is performed with a propagated standard deviation of elevation difference of 2 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
What classification of accuracy does this survey meet?
That's a tough one.
Your choices
Very
are
technical.
first order class 1, first order class 2, second order class 1, second order class 2.
Mm-hmm. So again, email us your answer, info@geoholics.com. If you have the correct answer, we'll randomly draw a name and send you a $10 Amazon gift card. I don't want it to sound like every correct answer gets a $10 gift card. It's the one that we draw.
Okay.
You good?
Fair.
You good with that? Is that better?
I'm good with that.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah.
We can afford that.
Because I just mentioned how we have been exceeding downloads. Like there may be like a whole class somewhere that is like, oh, we just had this.
Yes, exactly.
And
we can't have that. We can't have
and now Will can't go to Geo Week. I mean, that's just
all right.
We're almost there.
Almost there. Next up, as I mentioned, go to nlcprep.com to find out more about everything that they have to offer over there. Moving on, GeoNet count of the week. GeoNet. Love these guys. The world's largest blockchain-based RTK network, providing RTK service precise enough for professional survey, construction, and drones. These guys are doing absolutely amazing things. What does the count of the week look like, Sean?
Current count of the week, 13,061 satellite miners, up from 12,742 last week. I mean, that's a big jump. We're getting several hundred each week.
Yep.
4,377 cities, 142 countries. GeoNet, that's GeoDnet.com. Got to go there. Find your hex. Look at them.
Find your hex. I love it.
Look at the map. Find your hex. If there's not a blue dot on that hex, buy the thing, put it there. You'll start earning. You'll start expanding the network. It just makes a lot of sense. Earning crypto. I know it's crazy. Sounds wild, but this to me, and we've talked about this, the most tangible thing. I mean, I can put my hands on what the value this is adding, so it makes sense that it can add value to you if you do it. Just saying.
It's pretty amazing. Like the first time we heard about what these guys were doing, we were taken back.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop talking about it.
And they've been everywhere. They've been growing. And I mean, now it's just a race to all the hexagons.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Are you going to get that thing?
I got to get the thing. Yeah, up and find it. I checked my internet connection last week and it appears to be just fine.
Okay. Well,
so next stop, hit the buy now button.
So the next time we have this conversation, it will have been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yep. I'll be one of those new miners.
Hey, I got a good idea. You want to hear my idea?
I love your ideas for the most part. Like 80% of the time.
Let's get our guests in.
Let's make it do that. All right. Our guests this week are sponsored by David Evans and Associates. What sets DEA apart, even more than the quality of their work, is the quality of their relationships and the commitments they have. The DEA experience is reflected in 6 commitments and the seriousness with which they make them. Clarity of expectations, effective communication, accountability, collaboration, creativity, trust, most importantly. Find out more, go to deainc.com. Let's go.
Smooth.
Yeah, it's almost by memory at this point. All right. Larry, are you ready to join us?
I'm always ready.
Larry is ready. All right. A little about Larry Fox. Larry, born Northside Chicago, Cubs fan, obviously, attended DeVry Chicago, University of New Mexico, Albuquerque, and University of Phoenix. Hobbies include flying light aircraft, woodworking, and 3D printing. His current job is VP of Marketing and Business Development for Bad Elf. Did I get that right, Larry?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, sir.
All right. Christoph Streccia with Pix4D. Christoph, where were you born?
I was born in Germany.
Where about?
In Eastern Germany, close to Dresden.
Close to Dresden. All right.
All right.
Yeah, big fans of Germany here. We've been to Intergeo twice. We're going again this year. So
yeah, I mean, we're turning into like German. I want to say German guys.
we can get a residency or something like that.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Christoph, I'm curious. Have you attended university?
Yeah, I studied physics and then I did a PhD in photogrammetry.
Oh,
Where?
Physics was in Germany, in Leipzig, and photogrammetry PhD I did in Belgium.
Belgium.
Nice.
That's awesome. What hobbies do you have outside of work?
I like to go to the mountains, hiking, or also with the bike.
Okay. With the bike?
Biking a lot.
Biking a lot. You do a lot of mountain biking or road biking?
I do both.
Do both?
But mostly road biking.
Gotcha. And what is your current job? What do you do for Pix4D?
I'm the chief scientist of Pix4D.
Man, oh man,
so freaking cool.
I'm gonna be the chief scientist.
There's like no company in the U.S. that has a chief scientist.
Well, Pix4D does.
Well, I mean, but my point is like that's not in you know like
that's a pretty admirable title.
Pick another company that we know or we worked with or any of our sponsors that have a chief scientist.
I can't think of one.
It's cool. With you. We're gonna learn a lot more about it.
I'm jealous, no doubt about it. All right. So the reason we've got the Bad Elf folks and the Pix4D folks on the same podcast is you guys have not that long ago recently kind of teamed up to create a pretty exciting new solution. Is that correct?
Oh, you bet.
Larry, you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, sure. We started working with the folks at Pix4D probably a little over a year ago. I think we've been talking for a couple of years, but yeah, with the tools that they have for mobile devices and capturing photogrammetry and using the LiDAR on an iPhone, we said this is a match made in heaven. We've got high accuracy GNSS. Connecting that up with their app has just, it's created one of those markets that really kind of changes the game. You know, traditionally, you've seen them running around all the shows, the portable laser scanners and things like that. That's really nice, but there's a lot of people with an iPhone in their hand. And having that capability in a mobile, where you could do other types of data collection as well, really just, it's been a great relationship working with them. And it's actually pushed us a little bit to, you know, well, not necessarily me, but my colleagues at VetElf to really, you know, enhance what we do with our receivers so that this particular use case really works.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that a lot more, I'm sure, but just the way we integrate with them, their technical team, it's been a really awesome start.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that, Larry. Christoph, talk about Pix4D a little bit and how this partnership is mutually beneficial.
No, Pix4D, we are a photogrammetry company. We are known for drone photogrammetry. So we started, you know, all this hype of using drones for surveying. Did a lot of stuff there. And so this is still what we do. And our idea was always, or what we've seen happening is that, you know, consumer products, we had this with the DJI drones. They move into a professional usage, and I think we contributed quite a lot to this. And I think this is now also happening with the mobile phones that we all have. They have an awesome camera. Some of the phones, they also have LiDAR, time of flight LiDAR, and I must say. But you know, it's quite some information, and you know, we're trying to make applications with that as well. So this is how we get together also with Larry and discussed about, you know, connecting our app with their GNSS antennas to enhance the possibility to locate yourself, and then have an app that allows to capture data georeferenced correctly. That's a bit in a nutshell what we are working on together.
Yeah. So how does this, and I love it. I'm glad you mentioned the georeference part, because that's where Bad Elf comes in, of course. And plus, and then you've got the Pix4D capturing, correct? How does this application compare to other methods like LiDAR or actual photogrammetry?
Yeah, I think it's quite similar. It's just we are using the sensors that the phone has. The phone has the camera.
Yep.
So we're not here in this case. We are not using an external camera. We can also use that in our software, but your phone has the camera. It has a time of flight LiDAR. If you have an iPhone. And then we are connecting our app that collects the images and the LiDAR. We connect that app with the GNSS antenna of Bad Elf to receive the information about where we are. And then all the data, all the images and the LiDAR information from the phone has the additional information about where we are much more precisely. And then we can have in a post-processing stage or even on the device already three-dimensional information collected from the images and the time of flight LiDAR of the phone.
Music to my ears. Love it.
Yeah, and then Will, I appreciate you speaking up there. You're a user of this application, correct?
Yes, sir.
You talk about the workflow a little bit and like some of the applications you've used it for and have had success with.
Yeah, I've been using it for probably 4 years now. My old phone didn't even have LiDAR. It was just photogrammetry, but it still produced using Pix4D catch. I could still produce a point cloud, that I could send to an engineer on an open trench, and they could see what was in there at the time of construction before it got backfilled. And at that point, you're not really concerned if it's georeferenced, but I always wanted to, even when I had it back then, I was like, God, if I could just put some targets in here, shoot these targets, with my GPS, and I could process it just like I do the drone flights. And so now, being able to put the Bad Elf, right on your phone, and it's already georeferenced. So the same receiver that I'm shooting all my control with, I can georeference, the stuff that I'm walking around with, and it all comes together in one big package. And, like I said, it's great for QC. If you don't have, a receiver to put on it, it's still, you're capturing that data before it's buried, and I was just telling the guys a while ago, I was doing a job in New Mexico, and they had an open trench, and they were these ponds, and they were filling them up, and they're supposed to have thrust blocks underneath the water structure. And they were just cutting the PVC pipe and using those to kind of shim the pipe up, and I'm not that far into the plans. I'm just collecting as-built, but while I'm there, I'm going to shoot that trench. And with the way that Pix4D Cloud works, I can take that same Pix4D catch file and email it to my client, and he can open up the web map. So he doesn't have to have this fancy software to open it up and look at the point cloud, and he can even take measurements on it. And so just being as a QC standpoint, he can look at that and he's going, hey, no, they're not supposed to be using that PVC. Those are supposed to be thrust blocks. Time out. Tell them, don't backfill.
So you're taking photos and uploading them to Pix4D, or you're
it's using Pix4D
in the Pix4D app.
Basically, what it does is, as you're walking around, it turns the screen purple. That's the photo, right? And as you're walking, it's putting in the correct overlap. So there's a certain workflow that you have to use. It's kind of like, I tell people, it's like, like a frozen yogurt machine, right? You want to start at the bottom You work your way around. Your next lap around, you're getting half of what you had before with your overlap. Kind of walking around your next lap, you're going halfway up. You're doing it again. So it takes, 2 or 3 laps walking around. But you're getting it, kind of like, or painting a car, you got to get your overlap in there.
And when you say when you're getting it, what you're getting is
you're collecting.
You're getting something that you can send to the cloud
Real time.
Correct.
in real time.
Yep.
And then someone can grab that from the cloud and get a 3D image.
Yes.
And collect some. How accurate are we talking about the data that you can?
So I'll give you an example. So we were in Vegas for a conference, and it was right before the F1 race. So they had an F1 car in the lobby.
This is a great story.
They had an F1 car in the lobby, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to scan that thing. And they had a security.
Oh, we were there with you.
They had a security guard there watching that car 24/7, right? And so they were letting people take pictures, and I'm like, well, I mean, if you think about it, I'm just taking pictures, right? But I probably had to do about 15 laps around it because it's very intricate, right? And just with scanning, if you really got to do multiple laps to get those angles and stuff like that.
Still, that was what, like 5 minutes?
Yeah, at the most. At the most. I think
5 minutes to get thrown in the slammer.
No. That was when I tried to do it with the big scanner.
No. The security guard came up to us when you touched the thing.
Yes,
right next to the sign that says "Don't touch this," and you're like, "Oh, the rubber is so real." Like, yeah. There's a sign that's
a 5-year-old Sean. You know that.
I know. The guy's like, "Dude, don't touch the thing."
Yeah, it's like, how old are you?
So basically, I scanned the whole thing. It came out awesome. And we were testing it. We were like, well, let's measure the wheel. Let's look at what a Formula One wheel, I think, is a 16-inch wheel. So you measure it in the program, and it's, it's like 15.3, right?
Oh, you're talking about like OD or like inside, and then there's some stuff.
But if I would have put some stickers on the pillars in there, brought my gun in there and brought control in and shot those stickers, I could process that just like I was telling you how we do the photogrammetry process.
Yeah.
Each picture that is in that control photo, you can center it up and process it to that control. And then when you measure that wheel, it will be 16 inches right on the money. So
when you constrain it.
Correct.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And so that's what with the Bad Elf, it's on your phone. So it's already pretty much constrained. I mean, obviously you want to tighten it up if you can. Yep. But yeah, it's
even inside.
It is. Yeah.
Even indoors?
No, you can't use the GPS indoor, but you can use your phone indoor. And if you transfer your control,
I'm with you. Gotcha.
Bring it in with the gun and shoot it in. Then you're good.
That's awesome.
Super cool. What do you guys have to say about that story? Other than that sounds awesome. We love Will.
Yeah. Larry, what are some other applications that you envision, this application working really well for?
So I'm a big fan of documenting anything that goes in the ground. Yep. I think probably you and all the audience knows very well how many things we strike underneath the dirt.
Way too much.
It's a huge problem. I actually right before the holidays, we got a chance to go out with a really big utility that was retrofitting just a ton of gas line. And you could see where they just had everything dug up. And you could see the gas line in there. And the way I look at Pix4D Catch especially is, you have the big aerial LiDAR, which is for large areas. Then you could fly LiDAR on a drone, which kind of gets you, the acre level stuff. But this is hyper local point clouds, orthomosaics, things of that nature. So we're out testing a bunch of GPS stuff because that's what I like to do for fun, amongst my other things. And I'm showing them Pix4D Catch, and you could see these little open trenches, and they're probably only 2-3 inches, and you could see the pipe in there, and I just walked along all the pipe because they would just document 2 ends and hope that they might find the pipe somewhere in between there. I did this whole entire apartment complex area in probably 5-10 minutes, walking around with our Bad Elf Flex and my camera and just taking zillions of pictures, like Will had mentioned. And then I showed him, like, here's photographic evidence that you could actually measure that's tied down to right around a centimeter of where everything is. You could see what went in the earth.
Wow.
And I think as we manage our infrastructure going forward, I mean, this is so attainable for so many agencies.
Yep.
And, maybe you don't use all the data today, but you have it. You have access to all of it. You can go measure. You could see other things around and go, oh, hey, by the way, I got this really cool point cloud. What else could I do with it while I'm there? So that's the kind of stuff that gets me stoked.
Yeah. Larry Fox, everybody.
Yeah.
Larry Fox. Love this guy. Oh, man. What else? So, like, from a Pix4D perspective, I mean, obviously, this is a great partnership, great teaming opportunity with Bad Elf. Are there any other doors you see this opening?
No, I mean, the app together with the Bad Elf is useful for documentation. So, this is the state that we have today. But then you can also, overlay an augmented reality vectorized things that you can basically then see on your phone. So if you have covered the trench and it's closed, and you have a map of the pipes that are underneath the street, you can basically overlay them onto your phone, have the augmented reality app to basically see virtually all the pipes that are under the ground that you otherwise don't see because the street is closed. So, there is this one part of documenting what is there, building a three-dimensional model of, let's say, underground infrastructure once the trench is open. But then you also have the opportunity to use a prior generated model to use augmented reality to put the information on top. So, and in order to have this working well with a high accuracy, what our app meets is the GNSS receiver that Bad Elf has. So this is why we teamed up, and I think it's a great application. Also, if you consider that, we need to do this a lot. So people need to collect a lot of those underground data, and there's not always a surveyor available that can do this. So we also like working on making it more easy to collect all this data. Huh?
I have to interject because I
think I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
I'm literally texting one of my survey managers because we're on a project that I'm like, hey, they're asking us to provide a second two-man crew to provide as-built information when we surveyors are hard to find, and we're having trouble finding another crew that can come on and do that. But it sounds like this could be a solution for that. And to be honest, I don't want anyone to find out about it. I just want to be the magician that makes it happen on site, and then I can charge a lot for it and not anyone realize that it's so easy.
Have you met Will Wink?
Yeah, I know.
He might be able to help you out.
He's too freaking busy. But I mean, we're at a confidential site, putting in a lot of utilities in a small confined area that might be around the solar, kind of business, and they got to figure out where all these lines are going. But they're going in constantly, so you can't just have a surveyor laying an outline and then another one as built in, because you got two guys right on top of each other. But with some some ability to, with photos and being able to ground truth, like we can do that without having to do the whole thing.
Yes, this is a great application.
Don't want to let the cat out of the bag here, guys, because I want to act like I was the guy that brought this to the table, and we all should too.
Internally, you have. They're going to think you're a genius.
I know.
The thing is, this is so easy. A freaking cheesehead could do it. So maybe you should hire John to be your data collector.
Cheesehead comment. I'm over here minding my own business.
But to his credit, we are talking about to make this easy enough for someone to hold something and push a button and do the same thing that a
say thank you, Sean,
that a 2-man crew at $200 whatever an hour needs to handle. Like this guy clearly isn't $200 an hour, but he adds a lot of value, and it's possible.
Yeah, you put a mic in front of my face.
That was awesome. That was a great interview. That was amazing. That was amazing. But the thing is, like, what you guys are talking about, Larry and Christoph, amazing, amazing applications for this partnership, this technology. On the surface, when I think about it, I'm like, man, this is probably going to cost a lot of money to get to the point where I can do what these guys are suggesting. Is that the case, or is this a pretty low-cost solution? Larry, you want to start with that?
Well, the incremental cost on top of the GNSS hardware isn't bad. The license model is, well, we have it up on our website, so feel free to go to bad-elf.com and check it out. But you're looking, you could get into it pretty inexpensively for a couple $1,000s a year.
Yep,
they're doing this. Pix4D has quite a sophisticated, product line, depending on how much you need to do. But for, someone who's doing, a catch user using cloud, it's not a large expense. And when you think about that just from a business point of view, right? I'm a business owner. I got to go document all this stuff. You could see a payback period that could be, with a few jobs. And
that's awesome.
The rest of the year is gravy. So, there's another point to all this, which is, as Christoph mentioned, with the augmented reality and just the ease of use in general, it really lowers the training element. That's a big deal. You don't have to put a $200 crew out in the field. You could put an individual, train them for a day, make sure they really understand what they're doing. It's about making things more approachable. We got a lot of work in this world to do, right?
Especially when it comes to infrastructure. I mean, this is a hot button. It has been for a very long time, and right now it's hotter than ever.
Well, and I love that intro, and I want to piggyback a little bit with Larry on, and maybe get Christoph's take on it. What about, Larry brought up a good thing. How do you get this equipment and this technology and software more approachable? Because obviously that's the goal.
No, I mean, it's pretty approachable. I don't know.
I think one of the things is we're well into that whole bring your own device world, right?
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
The very expensive data collectors that we had in the past, there was a lot of folks who said, oh yeah, those will have their legs. Well, the technology evolution that goes into my iPhone, being that it's updated, once every year or once every 6 months, and the level of sophistication of cameras, the additional LiDAR, all that, it is so hard to innovate that fast unless you have a mass market device. Well, you think about it, there's a lot of mass market devices out there. There's a lot of iPhones, and that just brings so much more capability than the dedicated device at a price point that, I mean, maybe you spend $1,000, $1,500 on, the top of the line phone. I happen to have a brand new iPhone 16, and, the power you have in that, you mix it with a good GNSS that's, doing survey grade accuracy, you're capable of tying all that photogrammetry down to a hyper local level for a price of, $2,000 to $3,000 a year.
Wow, that's
pretty cool.
That's amazing. So talk about how you make all this work, right? Like, people that are listening right now are like, oh my gosh, I can think of a great application for this in addition to what you guys already shared. Is it like, okay, I have to have top of the line iPhone or top of the line, what do you call this thing? Android?
It's a Samsung.
Samsung. I have to have a top of the line Samsung Android thing, and then I have to buy a Bad Elf receiver, and then I have to subscribe to Pix4D. I mean, it sounds a little complicated. Is it that complicated, or is it pretty simple? You want to talk about it a little bit, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I think it's two separate subscriptions. There's one subscription for Pix4D Cloud, and then there's another one for Pix4D Mapper. Those are the two that I use. I mean, I know there's Pix4D Survey, Pix4D Map. There's all these different ones, but those are the two that I got. And I literally got into it because a friend of mine bought a Parrot Anafi drone, and it came with a year subscription to Pix4D Survey at the time. And he didn't know what to do with it. Yeah, so he gave it to me. And so, he would go fly it, and then I would process. I learned how to do it. And, that's the one thing, though. It was tough for me to find, use case scenarios that I could learn from. So I did a lot of YouTubing to try to find stuff. And that's literally how I learned how to do it. So, yeah, I would think that, or I was just wondering what, Christoph, what would be, somebody like John that wants to learn how to do this stuff, what would be the best place for him to go to get his feet wet in the Pix4D world
besides Lambeau Field?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we spend a lot of time making videos for photogrammetry. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Having classes, educating people, especially in the beginning when you have a drone. How do you get survey grade accuracy from the images that you fly with that cheap drone? So there's lots of things out there on YouTube to explain all this, and that's also on our website with knowledge base. There's forum that people discuss that we organized. So there's quite some information out, and maybe now you can ask all these ChatGPT kind of things, and the answer is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It was a sharp learning curve for me. This was probably 6-7 years ago. So it was a lot, but I'm telling you, once as a surveyor, right? Because you're setting that control on the ground. So you're controlling the accuracy of that flight. And when you learn how to, when that light bulb clicks and you figure out how to process that, it is a game changer. I mean, it's you look at jobs in a whole different way as far as, workflow and how you're going to attack it. And, you always have that in your back pocket, especially when you're driving 7-8 hours to go to a job.
Yep.
You've got that point cloud in your back pocket that you can go back.
Oh, you are damn sure not going to go back out there. So you're going to get every last bit of data.
Yeah, so why not collect it, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
and I think that's one analyst or analysis that we've never done is, if you could have gotten something for 30 minutes and you left early, what's the payback? Like what's the cost benefit when, if you didn't pick something up and it's, how far away does it need to be where you have to get some aero photography and take pictures and tie it all in, where if you missed one thing, then the whole thing doesn't make sense anymore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're driving to a site 3 hours away, you have to do all of these things. Will, you've done a great job of doing that.
Yeah. And like I said, and it works well. It plays well with others, right? So I have a Trimble scanner, terrestrial scanner, but sometimes I don't want to take 2 or 3 setups to get it. I'm doing a Pizza Hut in Kingman. I don't want 3 setups to get the drive-through. I can go in there with my phone, right? Get all that stuff with my phone. And then even if I'm a surveyor, so I'm going to try to get some control in there. But even if I don't have the control in there, I can cloud to cloud register those two to pick up all that stuff that I couldn't get from those other setups. And, like I said, once you figure out how to bring all that point cloud data into a georeference zone where you can literally just pick any one of those little centimeter of a, whatever the ground spacing sampling distances, you can pick any of those points and get an XYZ coordinate on it. It's awesome. I mean, I forgot to shoot an ADA ramp at the same
Happens.
Pizza Hut in Kingman.
That
They
happens.
called me afterwards. I'm like, oh shit, and I was still new at the time, right? So I brought that stuff in, and I'm going, how do I get that? And I pulled the scan out, and and if you've never worked in 3D, I think the younger generation has a leg up on this because it takes a little bit to figure out the 3D world, but to zoom in there and you're just looking at a surface and you can see the cut, where the ramp is, and you've got to pick your own points to create that surface, and it's got to be ADA compliant, right? So you gotta be
pretty tight.
Yeah, you got to be tight. But again, that saved me a 4-hour trip from driving back there, and then once you learn how to do that, it unlocks a whole nother level to your game. I mean,
it's another tool in the toolbox. It is, as they say. Why not take advantage of it?
Yeah.
It's just when I think I couldn't get any smarter, Will Wing comes along, right? Will Wing comes along, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow. There's a whole other world out there.
What is this all of a sudden? I met Will 2 years ago and immediately knew he was smarter than you. So it's like, oh, I'm surprised. Give me a fucking break.
So I got a question. Will or Larry. So I live in Richfield, Wisconsin.
Sure.
They're storing gas line pipes about a mile down from our house. Natural gas, they say. How do we find out what side of the block they're going on, how many miles it's going to be from our house? I mean, how do we find that out?
Pull over and
they're not telling us.
Pull over and ask the guy with the cleanest vest.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
They say it's come from Janesville, Wisconsin, down to Kenosha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Are they looking for surveyors? Probably.
Well, here I am saying something.
I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Hundreds and hundreds of miles of pipes. These trucks, they're huge. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you happen to own some of the land where they're crossing so you can make a bunch of money off of them?
They say they call it what do they call it? They pay the family if they have to go through your yard.
Yep.
Distraught family or distraught pay. Yeah, they do.
Interesting. Interesting.
All right, so I want to move this along a little bit. We have a whole series of great questions, and we never follow any of them.
But is there one in particular that stands out that you want to ask?
No, the big one I want to get from Christoph is, it seems like he knows what's going on, and I really want to know, where are we going?
He's chief scientist, by the way.
I know. The chief scientist has to tell us what's next. What's next with Pix4D? I know it's a super secret lab that you can't tell us, but where is the group going and where is your head going?
Yeah, I think we will use a lot of consumer devices. Mobile phones is going to be used a lot, and maybe also the job of a surveyor is going to be different. We talked about this. The surveyors, they will maybe not go on site to collect data, but they will sit in the office to basically control the data and look at the data that other captured. I think there will be a lot of things like that in the future. And so this is, where the mobile phone becomes really interesting, because it's so easy and people know it, that they can use it to collect data. And then the job of the surveyor is going to be more an office job rather than going out and measuring things on the ground. That's what I think is going to happen. There is so much work also that we don't have enough people to collect all this data. That's definitely one direction, I think, where things are moving ahead rapidly.
Yeah, I think, Christoph, that's a great point. And, it's like, you think about it, what's happening here by having, your phone with Pix4D and a bad elf, and, Will, this is somebody else. This is, John going out there with his phone and with Pix4D on it and a bad elf, collecting data. He's looking at all these pipes that are coming down his road. He's, collecting pictures, this and that. Technically, he's surveying. Right. So then there becomes like a regulation thing that comes into play. Right. It's like,
I wish you wouldn't have gone there, but okay.
But there are some regulation concerns that go along with it. That's all I'm saying. Right.
No. What you're saying is you have regulation concerns and you're asking his opinion about them.
Okay. What's your opinion about that?
No, I mean the surveyor. I mean, I think you can say this guy is surveying, but what is the added value of the surveyor is that he knows how to use the data to give a stamp that is survey grade.
Mhm.
And that's what is the difficult part, and but that's something you can do with the data in the office. If you have all the images,
What
you
you're
can
saying.
tie this together and see, okay, now I approve that this is survey grade, and that's going to be the job of the surveyor, or much more the job of a surveyor, which you can do from the office. And that's still quite important because, you know, not all the data that you collect is by definition, good enough to give that stamp that the surveyor put on the job.
Yeah, I like that answer, Christoph, as a matter of fact. Larry, you got anything to add to that part of the conversation?
Oh, you know, I'm going to kind of double down on what Will was saying. One of the things that I talk to my students over at ASU, so shout out to ASU, is
Go Sun Devils.
Free plug, don't get used to it.
SIU.
Go Salukis.
I'm sure a lot of people on this podcast are fully aware. One of the most expensive things you do is driving out into the field and collecting your data.
Yeah.
And if you miss one thing,
Yep.
now your job just got really expensive because it's costing you time and money. Right. So you think about using tools like these. Will I know is a big fan of flying the drone. Why does he fly the drone? Because a lot of times he picks up stuff that he might not pick up just by doing a standard, terrestrial survey, walking around with a GPS and marking a bunch of stuff. There's so much more information. And you think about it, it's like if I spend another hour on the site and capture all this stuff, and someone comes back to me and says, hey, I need another work product, I go in my back pocket, I got all this data. I can go reprocess it. I can go reanalyze it. I can go create derivative products out of it. And man, that's powerful. And quite frankly, makes the surveyor that much more efficient, right? You're adding a lot more value if somebody says, well, hey, you were out there doing that. I noticed, there was a pile of dirt. Well, I walk around with Pix4D catch and I catch that pile of dirt and I can go tell them the volume of it. Yeah, you got, X cubic meters dirt
Massive
out there. I mean, just simple little things like that. It puts you one level above everybody else who's just doing the job. I got products now that I could bring to the table that nobody else really can. So
yeah. You
Chris,
guys have a unique application here, a unique solution that I love it. I think this is a great partnership and it makes perfect sense.
Christoph, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, exactly. This is spot on.
Awesome. What else?
Well,
what else you got, buddy?
I did have a question, before we get to the last question, but I was curious about Larry, you're talking about specific products or specific instances where we can really transform. What's the best, and I'm going to go around the horn, what's the best use case that you found between on having a bad off receiver and being able to pull in Pix4D pictures and data and producing what's the best use case that you found so far?
I would still say that even though you could do stockpile analysis to a certain degree and things of that nature, I really enjoy the concept of being able to document all this subsurface stuff.
Yep.
I love
totally.
it. Yeah.
But as Christoph mentioned, the X factor here is really the augmented reality. I mean, Think about taking your CAD as-built or your GIS as-built, dumping them into the Pix4D cloud, training somebody for a couple hours, and have them have the visibility of everything that's under the street.
Yep.
Going through somebody's yard. But there's so many cool uses. I look at it from the PLSS kind of point of view. Imagine if you loaded property boundaries in there from CAD, and you could just simply walk out with a phone and go, yep, there's your boundary. I see it. Look, someone is encroaching on you. It is the coolest and easiest little presentation that you could have and go, I got the boundaries here. We got a problem. Or everything's okay. Or you have enough clearance. Hey, do I have 6 feet? Because I need 6 feet from my property line to be able to put in, this type of capability. That, with augmented reality and the Pix4D product, that is super cool.
Yeah. And then the virtual reality side of it, right? Just taking everything you're talking about and incorporating into a virtual reality component. That's where we're going with this. There's no doubt about it. But the thing is, this is where I think the bad elf comes in, right? Because you can't just take your cell phone out there as is out of the box and look at these things from a virtual reality perspective and think that that is Nat's ass accurate. Right? Because it's not. This is where the bad elf comes in, and you attach that to your phone, and you're actually geo-referenced at that point.
To a known coordinate.
Drills that accuracy down a little bit from just using your phone out of the box. So let's just be careful when we talk about that. It's like you need to have like the bad elf.
Sure.
To drill that in and make it a little bit more realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Another
marketing machine.
What we do around here, add value, make friends.
What do you have to say on that, Christoph?
No, what I just to what I also like and what people are really using this for is for accident reconstruction. For these guys, they close the road.
Another great application.
If there is some accident, and they need to collect all the evidence, and when they're still working, the road is closed, and there is traffic jams. So with this technology, you can also collect the data much faster, clear the road, and everything is fine again. And then you have the data in your pocket, and be sure to analyze it later on to get all the evidence you want. So there's many things that people are using this for. But I also like a lot the subsurface utility mapping. That's a huge problem, and we're getting a lot of requests from this.
Yeah, that's a perfect application. I'm glad you brought that up, Christoph.
Yeah.
Another great use case for it that I use quite a bit is time lapse. You know what I mean? Because I'm the first one there on that project. So I'm going to fly it. I'm going to scan everything. I'm going to Pix4D catch everything that I can. And then that whole site's getting demoed, right? Every tree's going away. Every pipe is going away. And then, some of these projects that I work on are 3-4 year projects. And by the time we're done, you've got this $7, $8, $10 million estate. And as a surveyor, I have to go back multiple times throughout the build to certify concrete, to certify pad grades, different things, setback certifications. So every time we go, you might as well fly it, right? Fly it, collect the data. You're already there, right? And now, 5 years later, we've got this awesome bank of data that we can. Now, it does take a lot of time to put it all together and make it look decent, but it's really cool to be able to see from what it was to what it is now. And I also think there's a huge QC benefit to that also. Looking at construction management, looking at materials.
Right now you're opening up a whole different ball of wax.
Somebody dropped off a roll of copper here last week, and Sean was out there with his phone just scanning the site every week because that's what he does. Holy shit, we can't find that copper now. Well, let's go back through our records. It was there last week. Check that scan.
Well, I gotta pop in here because most of you guys have had that job where you just like hold the stick and you hold the thing, or you just get yelled at all the time. Well, I had the job of every roll that comes in, you got to take a picture of the label, and then you got to document what the label came from and make sure it's the right shit. Well, could you imagine doing that same job now, where it's just like, boop, 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 and then it just, then you just, hey, anything that's not doesn't say this code gets it. I don't want to say it still is not going to do the job for you, but it has to streamline, right?
And you have backup. You can always go back to it.
And with and to tie that in, like if we can take that picture and assign it to where physically, and in this case, it's a geo roll. Like everything was about. This is a roll of geosynthetic, and it's going to roll out and it's going to end up in some spot, and we need to know where the spot that this was and each roll is, because if there is something wrong, we need to be able to identify. All right, so you have a roll of something, it rolls out into a big pit or a big anything. You have to be able to find where that roll is, and we tried to always do it with lanes, but if you could just do you know. And then we could all track it back.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great example. The other thing I would like to interject and add is that this could potentially change deliverables in the way deliverables are submitted, right? I mean, that's a big ask, but there is an opportunity here to create a paradigm shift, to be honest with you. Like if you had deliverables that were, these images, and I mean, I'm not sure exactly what that would look like, but we're doing things when it comes to like as-built deliverables in such an archaic way, right? There's such a better way of doing that. We just need to figure out a way to change the mindset.
I don't think it's a mindset, and I'm going to ask these guys' opinion on it before I say something, but I don't think it's a mindset. I think it's how the industry accepts as-built. And when you say as-built, like one thing, but I think it's how they agree to accept an accepted construction project.
Yep.
And
alternative delivery.
We'll start with Christoph. Christoph, I know it's like 2:00 in the morning there, so it's okay. It's okay if you were dozing off.
It's like, yes, it
but
is.
Has there been any talk, and how do you accept construction projects and as-built, and is there an application of what you're doing here to accept that and I'll say that a different delivery?
Yeah, the as-builds. Yeah, I mean that's also something that is also different in the whole world. Some countries are a bit more advanced in also having the regulation from the government to needing to do this as-builds. But yeah, I mean this is something moving forward. I mean that's also what we really need. If we build something, it's never built as the architect wanted to have it, and but we need to know what was actually built in order to, maintain the digital twin of that asset. It's but it's a huge work also in terms of mind shift of construction companies to to deliver the as-builts. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that same thing, Larry? Because I know you're itching to chime in.
I'm itching to chime in because Christoph mentioned the whole digital twin thing, and I'm kind of a big fan of that, even though that word's starting to get overloaded a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But here's coming from my perspective of having worked with both engineers and GIS professionals. They look at as-builting quite a bit differently. The products that we could produce now with these type of technologies that are really tied down to earth, we're still teaching some professionals how to understand coordinate systems and datums and things of that nature, but that's a different challenge. But this becomes more available to both the GIS professionals that likely need to ask way different questions of the as-builts than do the engineering professionals who are trying to document a completely different set of information. Like, did we build what we say? How they ask different questions. And so when we look at data as a whole, right?
Yeah. We're talking about liability here, right, Larry?
We're talking about liability, but we're also talking about maintainability, right? So you put a bunch of stuff in the ground. Well, the people who did that in 20 years are gone, right?
Yep.
Having a digital copy of that, especially if it, as I was mentioning earlier in the dialogue with Will, especially if it has information that we didn't ask questions about the data, but we still have it, we can go, hey, we never really thought to go look at this, super cool photogrammetric data that's got all the pictures. Did we use those stupid couplings that seem to be failing all over the place? Look in that data and go,
interesting.
Yeah, there's the red ones in there. We use those. We're going to have to rip out all this stuff. Or nope, those are the yellow ones. We're good to go.
Yep.
Did we put things too close? Did we learn something about our processes and procedures that I've got a liability? And now the city planners, people that don't care about GIS directly or engineering directly, but city planners, the folks who got to write the checks to go maintain all this stuff, they got to be able to ask the questions of the data from whatever group that it's going to and be able to say, hey, what do I need to budget for to maintain this stuff? So
think about the GIS you could create with this application. It is so freaking powerful. It's ridiculous.
I have to admit, guys, I'm sorry. I've been a little bit distracted because I'm texting with several of our team members.
You noticed I've been working out a lot lately, and you're like, wow, you're looking pretty buff right now.
That's the last thing that would ever just
weird.
Yeah, everyone else is fucking weirded out by that. It's just actually we have to take a second to reset because you just took us on a weird.
I took you off your game. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm texting with several of our team members because we have several projects where it makes sense to keep the same level of effort that we have on a GPS and location standpoint, but we can supplement as-built and get pictures and geolocate those pictures without having to have another 2-man crew with the same thing when we can everything you're saying and everything we're talking about mixes well. And I have to stop there because I don't want to give away something that will benefit our client and us and give us a huge competitive advantage. I'm sorry, I have to say it, and then I can't stop talking. I have to stop talking.
All right, I'm gonna interpret what Sean just said. Larry,
you heard me.
Larry, you can expect an order of 10 Bad Elf Flexes tomorrow, and Christoph, 10 subscriptions to Pix4D.
Yeah,
collect. Right? That we're talking about here.
Yep.
Yeah. Done deal. Done deal. Yeah. See, add value, make friends. That's what we do around here.
Probably 2, but sometimes worse. But yeah.
I know this guy with a shiny head who could hook you up.
love that haircut.
It's awesome. What else, guys? Will, you got any parting words? It's been great. This has been great.
I have one other use case that's kind of
talk about it, man.
So
love use cases.
So when I first got that Pix4D catch and I realized how cool it was, so we race cars, right? We race dirt cars.
Oh.
We smash doors, we tear shit up a lot, right? And so it's really hard to measure if your frame is bent or something, you know what I mean? So basically I parked the race car in the driveway and painted the lines on the driveway. We parked it every time. I took out the Bad Elf and I shot all my pickup points on the suspension on the chassis, right? Outside, plenty of satellites, got XYZ on all those pickup points. And then I did it with Pix4D catch, went around the race car, did all that. Then I flew it also and, merged those two together.
It's awesome.
And then every time after a race, if we got into some shit, pull it back onto those spots in my driveway scan it again, fly it again, and you can see the differential if anything is messed up. I mean, pretty rudimentary, but I don't know. And it makes good Instagram stories too. So
yeah, for sure. Will's like a data collection dork.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. I got the F1 car right here. Look at this.
Totally.
You're going to prison for that, Will. I'm not. You know what? I don't want to be associated with that because then I'm going to jail too.
The FIA might want to see the scan.
Awesome.
Let's wrap it up with Christoph.
Let's do that. Christoph, thank you so much again for being here. I know it's like Sean said 2 or 3 in the morning where you are. But my gosh, you add tremendous value to this conversation, and thank you so much. Any final words you want to get out there?
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward where this is all going. And being part of it is pretty exciting. So thanks a lot for the discussion. Huh?
Absolutely. Are you going to be in Denver next week at Geo Week?
No, I mean, not me personally, but we have all our team, our
Nice.
North American team is in Denver, so there's plenty of people to talk to.
Yeah,
And they can all explain.
I can't wait
for the Geo Week or the Pix4X.
Yep, that one too.
Yeah, that one too.
We're gonna find those
Pix4D
guys
people.
as well.
Well, we've seen them like 2 or 3 times.
We
now.
have,
Like,
yeah,
They always end up,
absolutely.
and one of the Bad Elf guys usually teams up, and I mean, it's a great partnership,
Yep.
and we get it. So
Yep.
they'll be a part.
And Larry's going to be there, and he's going to be the star of the show as always. And we can't wait to see you in person in Denver, Larry. And any final words from you?
I just want to say thanks. I've been dying to talk about this topic because I am an engineering nerd at heart. And so these kinds of things, these putting together technologies like this, this stuff is cool. The one thing I would kind of leave to everybody here is go download Pix4D Catch and play with it. There's a free trial.
Why not? Right?
Yep.
Why not? Free.
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah. Yep.
And a lot of what Will was talking about, you can do and try out and do, and man.
Yep. No doubt about it. John Hansen, my goodness, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
This is such an amazing event in our lives shared together, right?
Well, I'm impressed with what you guys all done.
The thing that's funny about this, Glenn Abramowski, who coined the phrase in episode like 3, maybe, add value, make friends.
Yep.
Our mutual friend. We've known Glenn as long as essentially we've known each other. Yep.
The 80s.
Before you take off, I know you're to do. Can I have a nickname or anything other than what we know him as? What did you? I mean, I'm sure you didn't just call him Kent.
They were temporary nicknames. They didn't stick. They were temporary.
I can actually cut you. But he cannot talk.
Nicknames.
I need something.
We had a band.
Okay.
The Groasters. Remember Kevin?
You know what? It was we had the Gramones. Ramones, because we were like all big fans of the Ramones. And we were like, thinking we were punk rockers back in the day. And we're like, my dad actually coined that. He's like, you guys are going to form a band. It's going to be the Ramones, and you're going to tour the world. I just ended up being a podcaster.
You want to go with nicknames?
Give me one good one. One good one. Come on,
say it.
Help me out.
We'll
say
what you're going to say. Say it, and then we'll follow up.
Do it.
When you're now recording about the story behind it. Dex. There you go. Read into it what you'd like. We were going to read this up.
Yeah, please.
Well, all right.
Let your imagination run wild.
You know what? We can use Will's scanner to talk about Dex, as a matter of fact. All right, adding value, making friends. If anyone would like to be a guest on a future show, shoot us an email at info@thegeoholics.com. Also, send your answer to the question to info@thegeoholics.com. Paranoid.
Did you just say the Geoholics?
Sometimes it comes out the Growaholics. I've seen that as well.
Actually, we need to register that right now.
Yes, we do. That's another tattoo we'll get in Denver.
Yeah.
Paranoid by Black Sabbath, available everywhere. Until next time, everyone, man, oh man, such amazing content this evening. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Christoph. Thank you, John. Thank you, Will. Sean, you got to be here anyway, so piss off.
Pass.
Most importantly, be safe and healthy, everybody.
Yeah, sure.
See you there.
Hey.
Great choice of music, Larry. Appreciate that.
Boom.
I actually just heard from my buddies that Black Sabbath is touring with Ozzy.
I saw that. I just saw that today, as a matter of fact. That's why I chose a Black Sabbath song. Could you freaking imagine? You know what? I also heard that AC/DC is touring as well with the remaining members. So, like, I would pay a substantial amount of money to go see AC/DC as well as Black Sabbath.
Same.